The Attorney General of the Federation and Ministry of Justice, Abubakar Malami, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, yesterday stated that with Executive Order 10 issued by the President Muhammadu Buhari, the federal government could, through the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, withhold the allocations of any state that failed to honor the autonomy of the two other arms of the state government. The new executive order was issued to the provision of Section 121, subsection 3 of the Constitution, which guarantees the financial autonomy of the two arms of government at the state level. Malami noted that Executive Order 10 was aimed at ensuring constitutional compliance, complementing existing legislations, as well as providing necessary supervision required for enforcement. The Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, made that statement yesterday, as we mentioned earlier. Joining us now for updates, for his views on that, is Allocation. He's a policy analyst and he joins us from Washington, District of Columbia in the United States. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 7. Executive Order number 10 by the President gives autonomy to the two other arms of government and, as a matter of fact, empowers the Office of the Accountant General to deduct from source or withhold the funds of states that refuse to comply. What is your reaction?
Thank you for having me. I believe that this is a very, very, very welcome development. And the fact that we are even having this conversation on the anniversary of Nigerian democracy also speaks to the progress that we've made as a country. And I think this is a commendable effort by the government to be able to say that, you know what, we are now prioritizing the long-awaited independence of the different institutions. It's enshrined in our constitution. We know that we have to have a separation of power. And what has actually made that independence of the three arms of government possible for several years is the inability, is the lack of the financial autonomy. And this is what this executive order has effectively corrected, to say that, you know what, we are now willing to implement a policy that is already established in the Constitution. Section 121, subsection 3 speaks directly to how that goes to the judiciary at the state level. And I think when the government is doing this, they are confirming to their commitment to the rules of law, the key importance of separation of power and the independence of the different arms of government. And I think it's a very, very welcome development, and I think the government should be commended for this effort. I know that generally there might be a couple of concerns around whether this is a constitutional issue, whether the presidency has the power to actually use the instrumentation of executive order to implement this policy. But that's a question that's probably open for conversation, and the intention is more what I'm particularly interested in now, to say that we are opening up ourselves to this fundamental principle of democracy, to say that each arms of government can be independent, and we know what that has done at state level, how much power state governors has over the two other arms of government in the state because of the financial dependency on them. And this is seeking to control that. I think this is very, very important that the president has decided to do this.
All right, thank you very much for your views. Allocation, policy analyst who joined us from Washington, D.C. in the U.S.